During your project, have you ever heard the terms Zonolite or Vermiculite? Well, they go hand in hand. Vermiculite is a material. Zonolite is a brand that manufactured that material. Vermiculite. When we talk about vermiculite, we're talking about a granular insulation that's found in walls, ceilings, and floors. Haven't seen much in floors. When we're talking about vermiculite, we can't talk about vermiculite, which is the actual insulation, the granular insulation. We can't talk about vermiculite without talking about Zonolite. Zonolite was a manufacturer for vermiculite. They're the ones that are responsible for the asbestos contamination being so high that the government turned around and said, hey, we're going to create what's called the Zonolite Trust, which again, Zonolite is a brand, and that brand now has to have a trust to help reimburse citizens to get repaid for the additional cost of an abatement now that it's affected so many people. When we talk about vermiculite, the big thing that everybody wants to know about, the Zonolite Trust. So what we did is we went onto the Zonolite Trust website and we actually downloaded the infographic, which should be on screen. So there's 3 ways to confirm that there is Zonolite. Either A, you have the receipt for the Zonolite that was originally bought, which if you have it, good on your record keeping, because that's amazing. Or you have the Zonolite sample, which would be with what we do, a composite sample of the vermiculite throughout the entire space. Then it gets sent off to Zonolite to be tested to be for its Zonolite content. Or you're lucky and you actually have a Zonolite bag, which is right here. Luckily, you don't actually have to send the bag in. You just need a photo of the bag inside the space. Once you have one of those 3 ways of confirming that there is Zonolite in your space, your wall, ceiling, floor, wherever it may be, then you're going to go ahead and submit a list of required documentation. First being pre and post photos. So when we get to a project, we do a site inspection where I literally walk through the entire space, photographing the entire space. At the time, while the project is going on, we're taking during photos. And then as the project is wrapped up, our site supervisor does after photos. I like to do all 3 because as we get into things, specifically when we start to find Zonolite bags, you find the Zonolite bag buried. Not very often do you find that bag on top of all the vermiculite. It's almost like they would dump out a bag and then dump the next bag on top of where they just dropped their trash. Another piece of documentation you need is actually the proposal for the abatement and the re-insulating. Proposal is just saying that you contracted somebody who is properly licensed and trained, and it's showing that there is a cost associated with the project. The last piece of documentation that you need to submit is actually your paid invoice, copy of your paid invoice. For us, we'll send everything over as part of the closeout documents, and then you can incorporate our entire closeout packet directly over to the Zonolite Trust. So our goal is to try and make it as simple and as easy as possible for homeowners and other contractors when we're dealing with these types of projects. The best part, and the part that everybody asks me about, is payment. So when you find the Zonolite vermiculite bag, you're finding proof that there is actually Zonolite there. They don't even need to, it's part of the big 3, right? So you have the big 3 being the big 3 ways of figuring out if there is Zonolite in the space. So 1 being the receipts for the Zonolite that was bought and put into the space. 2, a composite sample, which is looked at under a microscope and analyzed to see if it does have asbestos and zonolite in there. Or 3, the Zonolite bag. So nobody is paying homeowners for finding zonolite. So zonolite was being penalized for having asbestos contamination. So as a result, it's a class action lawsuit where the government said, hey, you need to create a trust that's going to reimburse all these people for this unexpected cost that's going to have to go against however many there has been now. I mean, there has to be thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of zonolite claims directly we're going back to the Zonolite Trust. Now, when we're talking about getting paid, you're not actually getting paid. You're getting reimbursed for the abatement. I try to explain to people too that it's not just the abatement; it's also the re-insulating of the space, because it was insulated with a bad material to begin with. So when you look at the cost of the project, it's not just the abatement; it's the removal and the repair, essentially. When you're talking about Massachusetts and New Hampshire, you're talking about Mass saves, New Hampshire saves, you're incorporating those costs into your total claim against the Zonolite Trust. It's a long process, but with the right people helping you, it can definitely speed up, and it's definitely going to get a lot easier as the process goes through. Give us a call here at Morneault Environmental. We'll help you out any way we can. 978-404-1467.